The history of ancient Rome is full of figures whose rise to power seemed unlikely, but few are as surprising as that of Macrinus. Born outside the Roman aristocracy and without the backing of a noble lineage, he defied the conventions of his time to become emperor. In this video, I will show you how a man from modest origins reached the throne of the world's greatest empire and saw his reign crumble quickly. Macrinus was a unique figure in a time of transition, whose brief rise to power showed just how unstable and unpredictable the fate of Rome could be. Born in 165 AD in the province of Mauretania in North Africa, Macrinus grew up in a family of Berber origin. His ethnicity and social position placed him far from power in Rome, where nobility and tradition were the main paths to political advancement. Unlike the image portrayed in some works of fiction, like Gladiator II, Macrinus was not an ex-slave, but even so, his origins were considered low by Roman standards. Mauretania was a peripheral region of the empire, and even for those who came from distant provinces, the idea of reaching supreme power seemed absurd. However, Macrinus demonstrated early on a sharp intellect and an innate ability to navigate the intricate waters of Roman politics. Before his rise to the throne, he built a solid career, first as a lawyer, which earned him respect and notoriety. His skill in handling the complexity of Roman law and dealing with administrative matters caught the attention of powerful senators and influential figures. Eventually, he secured the position of Praetorian Prefect, the highest post within the Praetorian Guard, an elite military unit responsible for protecting the emperor. This position granted him great power and prestige, as well as dangerous proximity to the unpredictable Emperor Caracalla. Caracalla, the emperor known for his violent temper and cruel decisions, became one of the most feared rulers of his time. After assassinating his brother Geta in 211 AD, Caracalla consolidated his power, but his brutality and controversial policies, such as granting Roman citizenship to all free men in the empire, increased the tax burden and generated discontent. Macrinus, as Praetorian Prefect, was at the forefront of imperial power, assisting Caracalla in carrying out his orders and dealing with the empire's day-to-day administration. But this proximity was a double-edged sword. Macrinus himself, in secret, feared for his life, knowing that any suspicion of treason could result in his summary execution. Tensions between Caracalla and Macrinus reached their peak in 217 AD. When the emperor was on a military campaign against the Parthians, rumors began circulating that Caracalla planned to eliminate his Praetorian Prefect. Macrinus, sensing that his time was running out, chose to act first. Although the details of the conspiracy are obscure, there is strong evidence that he actively participated in the plot that led to Caracalla's assassination. With the sudden death of the emperor, the troops, uncertain about who should succeed him, ended up proclaiming Macrinus as emperor just 3 days after the assassination. What followed was one of the swiftest and most unexpected transitions in Roman history, in which a man without aristocratic or senatorial background rose to the throne. Macrinus' reign, though brief, was marked by almost insurmountable challenges. He inherited an empire exhausted both financially and militarily. Caracalla's campaigns had drained the state coffers, and the soldiers, who were used to large bonuses, quickly turned against any attempt to cut their benefits. One of Macrinus' first actions as emperor was to try to reorganize the empire's finances by cutting military expenses. This decision, though logical from an economic standpoint, was extremely unpopular. The legions, accustomed to luxury under Caracalla, saw Macrinus as a threat to their way of life, and discontent began to spread through the army ranks. In addition to internal problems, Macrinus faced external challenges. The war with the Parthians, initiated by Caracalla, was still ongoing, and Macrinus opted for a diplomatic approach, seeking peace with the enemy. While this strategy was seen as prudent by some, many interpreted it as a sign of weakness. The empire, accustomed to decisive military victories, looked unfavorably upon an emperor who did not excel on the battlefield. Political tensions began to escalate, and Macrinus' reign increasingly depended on his ability to maintain control of the army, something he seemed to be losing rapidly. While Macrinus tried to balance the demands of the empire, a new threat appeared on the horizon. Julia Maesa, Caracalla's aunt and matriarch of the powerful Severan dynasty, began conspiring to restore her family to power. Maesa started promoting her grandson Elagabalus as the true heir of Caracalla, and with the promise of restoring military privileges and bringing back the glory of the Severan dynasty, she managed to mobilize the legions against Macrinus. The propaganda she spread was devastating for the emperor. By claiming that Elagabalus was Caracalla's illegitimate son, Julia secured the military support necessary to challenge Macrinus' rule. The rebellion quickly gained momentum, and in 218 AD, Macrinus was forced to face troops loyal to Elagabalus at the Battle of Antioch. The outcome was disastrous for the emperor. Defeated, he tried to flee disguised but was captured and executed shortly thereafter. His head was sent to Rome as a trophy, symbolizing the restoration of the Severan dynasty to power. Macrinus' reign lasted only about a year, but its consequences were significant. His attempt to reform the empire, especially in terms of finances and military policy, exposed the vulnerability of the Roman system at that time. He showed that without the loyal support of the army, even the most capable emperors were doomed to failure. His rise, however, represented something even deeper, the possibility, however brief, that imperial power could be achieved by someone outside aristocratic circles. Macrinus almost changed the fate of Rome, but like many before him, he succumbed to the relentless forces of tradition, the military, and the aristocracy. His trajectory leaves an intriguing question. What would have happened if Macrinus had been able to hold on to power? Could his economic policies and focus on internal reforms have steered the empire in a new direction? Moreover, to what extent was Rome ready to be governed by someone outside the traditional circle of nobility? These are questions that help us reflect on the legacy of this emperor. Leave your thoughts on this story in the comments and how you think Rome could have changed if Macrinus had stayed in power longer. Don't forget to like the video and subscribe to the channel for more fascinating stories about ancient Rome. And in the video appearing on the screen, I'll talk about who Lucius Verus was, the real character behind the hero of Gladiator 2. Just click and check it out.